Hello, everybody, and welcome to our weekly walk here at Timeless Netiv, the Netiv Olam. Netiv is the Hebrew word for pathway, Olam, the eternal pathway. Glad you could join us. I want to share a couple stories with you today. This first one, as we enter the Christmas season, is about a group of 24 men who set out on a journey, not to compete for a prize or to race against each other, but actually to save children. You see, in Nome, Alaska, at that time, there were about 1,400 people living in the village there, and diphtheria broke out among the children. The fear was it would spread and many would die. No ship, no plane could get in and deliver the serum, and so 24 sled drivers, dog mushers, volunteered to run a relay to get the serum up there. Now, they were risking their lives because the weather at times would dip below 60 below zero. Can you imagine that? I can't. They lost dogs along the way. They faced blizzards, snowstorms, a journey that would last 5.5 days and cover over 675 miles. Finally, the serum arrived and the children of Nome, Alaska were rescued. That story reminds me of another journey, a journey made by a young couple, a husband and wife. It was a journey that would take them about 5 to 6 days to make, but not as far as the dog mushers made when they went to Nome, Alaska. This journey was only about 60 miles, but it was over some of the most difficult terrain in the Middle East. You know who I'm talking about, right? Joseph and Mary. They left Nazareth because an edict had been given that everyone was returned to their hometown for a census. That's so that Rome could make sure that those who were qualified to go to battle were in the army, and those who were supposed to pay taxes had paid their taxes. And so Joseph set out, and we assume he put Mary on a donkey because, remember, she's 9 months pregnant, about to give birth. And if they're not ascending up hills, they're descending down hills. In the evening, it would be very cold. In the day, it could be very hot. It was a treacherous journey for a young couple and for a woman expecting to give birth to a child. And all they had to go on was the belief of what God had revealed to them through the angel. That is, that in Mary's womb was conceived the Messiah who would save the world. They faced difficulties and challenges. There were robbers and brigands along the way. And they had to trust God, that despite all the hardship, they were going to deliver the deliverer. And then he was born there in Bethlehem in a stable. We'll talk more about that on our next weekly walk. But right now, as I think about that story, I think about your journey and my journey. You know, sometimes our journeys are difficult, to say the least. We face hardships, and all we have to go on is trust and believe that God is with us and that God has a purpose in the challenges that we face. You know, sometimes our journey is really not about us. Like Mary and Joseph, we're here on this planet to deliver a Savior. And that is not just talking about God and talking about what he did for us on the cross, as important as that is, but a lot of it has to do with how we face life. You know, people watch us, and our greatest testimony isn't so often our words, it's how we live our lives. I think about my brother when he passed away a little over a year ago. His wife, my sister-in-law, is with us right now for a few days. And, you know, they really inspired me and spoke to my heart and the heart of many people. As they went through that very difficult journey through a dark valley, they both made up their mind that they were going to glorify God. It wasn't going to be about them. They wanted to leave a powerful testimony for family and for friends and for strangers. And they did. And to this very day, I'm inspired and encouraged by it. See how they live their lives has strengthened and encouraged my faith. So as you think about this Christmas story and this Christmas season, as you think about your own journey, I want to encourage you to remind yourself that people are watching and you have an opportunity to influence them for eternity. by, like Mary and Joseph, believing and trusting that God knows what he's doing despite the hardship, that through your life he's going to deliver a Savior into somebody else's life. Let me just read that passage that describes the journey. It's found in Luke chapter 2. At that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed that a census should be taken throughout the Roman Empire. This was the first census taken when Quirinius was governor of Syria. All returned to their own ancestral towns to register for this census. And because Joseph was a descendant of King David, he had to go to Bethlehem in Judea, David's ancient home. He traveled from there, from the village of Nazareth in Galilee. He took with him Mary, to whom he was engaged, who was now expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. Next week on our weekly walk, we'll talk more about that birth and some interesting guests who showed up. Until then, God bless you. Have a great week. I'll see you soon on the Timeless Netiv on our weekly path.